Hello and welcome again, everyone. I hope you're having a good evening. This is sort of a test over stream. I don't know whether we'll get more or less people because there's a game about to kick off, but this we will find out. How are we all? Say hello if you're in the chat. Five of you, 5 of you watching. Say hello. And start firing away any questions you may have. So I'll be trying to give updates on the game this evening, doing my best to do that and answer all of your questions. So, yeah. Hi Neil, hi Jammer, hi Cadet, hi Chris. How are you guys? So yeah. Let's get right into it. Sorry if you can hear the fireworks in the background. There's not much I can do about that. So yeah, let's get questions going. 3-4-3 or 4-4-2. Oh, let's start with Jammer. Decided to have no premium striker for the next game with Arnie, Wilson, and Jimenez. To get Salah, Mane, and Hazard in the same team. Is this a good idea? Maybe short term, yes, but long term, the likes of Aguero. But if you can go without them if you've got Sterling, but I wouldn't go out without either of those two long term. Hi guys, how you doing? So 3-4-3 or 4-4-2. So that's playing a centre back, or that's playing a defender or a striker. Now, for your starting 11 to have the strongest team, probably 3-4-3 will normally return more points, but 4-4-2 will give you the best bench and probably the strongest starting 11 because you'll have someone like Doherty starting for you almost every week. So yeah, probably 4-4-2 for the Christmas period. I always have thought 3-5-2 is the best formation this season because it allows me to have Bennett and Wan-Bissaka on my bench as my two subs who score consistent points, and that's all I need. And then three premium defenders. So 3-5-2 actually I think is the best formation. Hoping some Mitrovic attacking turns tonight, but can't see the game, so updates are great. Thanks. Yeah, that's what we'll be doing. If anyone else, I'll try and check my phone regularly, but not too often. So if any of you there's a goal, please let me know. But no fake news. Please, no fake news. But I'll do my best to have live updates, and we can discuss things as they happen, and who might be options because of these goals or what. So am I keeping Maddison? Now my transfer plans are so. We'll get onto my team in a bit. We won't discuss it quite yet, but Maddison, no, I'm not keeping. I'm keeping him for the Burnley game just because Burnley have been awful. And my replacement has a slightly harder fixture. So Maddison, I will not be keeping, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. I think I should go on Big Brother. Thanks. TYM. Cillian, what's your Twitter? What's your Twitter name? Cillian. Chris says, thinking Salah to Mane, Maddison to Sterling, and Richarlison to Deulofeu. I really wouldn't be getting rid of Richarlison. Apparently he picked up a bit of a knock, but he looks so essential playing up front in that Everton team who are going to score goals. He's returned in both those last games, scored 20 points in 2 games. I don't know why you can consider getting rid of him. I wouldn't do it. And when Deeney comes back, Deulofeu's place is only going to become less and less likely to be his. So yeah, I wouldn't. Salah to Mane and Maddison to Sterling look great, but Richarlison to Deulofeu does not look good. Does not look a good move at all. So probably I'd have to advise against them then. But potentially look at Martial, who looks on incredible form, and we'll get to him when we talk about bandwagons as my 4th point today later on in the stream. But Um, it would be much easier if you could just tell me what your actual at is, but don't worry. If you don't want to, I can go hunting. Yeah, keep Madison for Burnley. Yeah, Burnley conceded 13 in their past 3 games. Apparently, he was very unlucky not to return this week. Some poor finishing from others not to get assists. So, yeah, I'm definitely keeping Madison. Madison is for the Burnley game, and then he's on his way out. He's been pretty poor for me lately. Yeah, keep your questions going. I will answer everything that comes into the chat. So where should we go first? We'll talk about the first point. Um, the dreaded word that is essential. Essential in FPL. Now I've seen a few people talking about. I tweeted out. Some of you may have replied saying who do you think is essential this season? And if you could can you guys put in the chat the the who you think is essential? Who do you think is essential at this moment in time for the next up until Christmas or something that I have or that anyone has? Because there are a few replies, and it doesn't have to be one person. It can be one of two. A lot of people saying Salah or Mane or Aguero and Sterling, but anyone apart from that, you think people really should be looking at not just as differential, but as a real, solid option that will return points. Aguero, yeah, I honestly still think Aguero is a better option than Sterling because he's not going to get rotated. Um, so yeah, I personally would be picking Aguero over Sterling. Sterling might have that one game off, but Sterling did look very good at the weekend, but so did Aguero. So that's a tough one between those two. Hazard, yeah, probably still is. Um, that's the fireworks. I do apologise. Is it really loud for you guys? Let me know if the fireworks are really loud in the background or if it's okay. Hazard's a difficult one. He's. I feel like Hazard's going back to the way he was last couple of seasons, and I heard FPL Family talking about it when they did theirs last night. That he's feels like he's slipping back to where he was. 4 points in assist and one point because he came off the bench. I'm keeping him for now. I don't think he's essential at the moment, to be honest. But then when he starts, he could absolutely tear a defence apart. So I wouldn't say he's essential, but I say he's a very good one to own. Your live streams are essential. Thank you, thank you. Liverpool defence and Man City's defence are essential in my eyes. Yep, I'd probably agree. We'll talk about my second point in a minute. Defensive double ups, and this could lead on to that. But I think so, and I've got Trent Alexander-Arnold. I got Tara in my team, who I don't think is good enough cover. He hasn't looked that great, but we will see how he gets on, whether he keeps his place. He could be going for Gomez, and I think he will when I wildcard. His attacking returns aren't great, and Gomez seems to be very nailed on. So in my wildcard, Tar to Gomez looks like it will happen. I don't know when I'm gonna play my wild card. I've got if I played it now, I'd have one, two, I think four, 5 transfers to make. So that's not really enough. But they're sort of changes that I'd be making, like Kamara out for success with someone because I'm on my wild card. They're not 5 changes that I really think need to be made. Are the fireworks really loud for you guys? Let me know. Are the fireworks? Yeah, defensive double. This is something that um, I feel quite strongly about because I've learned it the hard way. Um, is no, basically. I'm really quite against defensive double ups. It'd be one thing, if Tar and Gomez were both like sure starters. No, my team doesn't need wildcarding, no chance. Not yet, anyway. If Tar and Gomez were nailed and they were both 5 million, then that's slightly changes the situation. But to start with, the amount of money you're spending on defences, and there is just no certainty of a clean sheet whenever you think. Man City had Southampton at home. You think, oh, we'll get a clean sheet there. One of them had Cardiff at home the week before. No clean sheet there. I mean, it's just I had a double Chelsea clean sheet for a bit of last season. They had kept 5 clean sheets in 7 games before I bought them in. I didn't keep one for the next 6 weeks or something. I would strongly advise. I think there's enough good defences in the league this season that I don't think you need a defensive double up. It can be a differential, but I think it's a risky place to go for a differential, if I'm honest, and can be a very expensive risk if it doesn't pay off. Doherty essential. I don't have him, and I don't plan on getting him at all, because I don't want Bennett and Doherty, and I don't plan on selling Bennett. So for me, he's not essential. No. But we will see. Again, I think he's one a bit like, not quite on the level of Hazard. He's probably 75% of the way with there, while Hazard's about 90. I don't think Doherty's maybe quite cut out as people make out for him to be on Twitter. So Bennett is gonna fill my Wolves defence. And when I get onto my transfer, you'll understand why I'm keeping Bennett and not getting Doherty. This is the thing. Doherty's great, if you're going to start him every game, then that's fine. But he wouldn't be starting in my team every game, so there's no need for me to have him. If that makes sense. So yeah, if he starts every week, then it's worth the investment over Bennett. If he's not starting every week, then it's not worth the investment. What time is it as a game? Yeah, 1 minute in. Let's see if I can. No, I can't. I was going to see if I could have my Twitter up so I could give you live updates. I do have Laporte and Mendy. Not sure what to do against Man United. I did get Mendy in for a punt against Southampton, but you're right, it didn't pay off. Yeah, just kicked off. So anyone who can give updates, I'm going to have Twitter open. Maybe I can do it like this. I'll merge them. Sorry, just give me 1 sec. Here we go. I hopefully can get live updates while still being able to see. How do I? Sorry, I'm a little bit still getting pop out. Here we go. Right. So, can you guys still see me all fine? Oh, thanks. Is everything still fine? You can still see me, hear me, everything fine. I haven't got my live stream up exactly. Do I still plan to get Success? I do, because I plan to get him over. I plan to get him over Kamara, yeah, but I don't plan on playing him. He's looked good though. I wouldn't be surprised if he does play consistently, even when Dini is back. They tried to put Deulofeu up there, and I think Success looked better. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does play, even with Dini back. So I think he's definitely one. If you're playing a formation like mine, 3-5-2 with 2 strikers, then I think he's great to have on the bench. But I wouldn't be looking to bring him in to play every week. Yeah, so that's probably where I'm going to go. But he'll be coming in, but to sit on my bench rather than to play every week. For that Christmas period, I think. Yeah, keep firing your questions away, guys. I'm just gonna keep firing them away. What's next on the? We'll continue on the defensive double ups. It's a tough one, and especially because people have had Doherty and Bennett or Patricio and one of them, and it is a cheap way in. And Wolves did look very good, but I just think be wary. Teams tend to keep a maximum of 19 clean sheets is a lot, and that's one of the highest it's ever been. I think United did it 2 seasons ago or last season. and that's a lot in United, and that's a top team. But normally a lower team is going to keep 1 in 4 clean sheets maximum. Like the likes of Wolves will keep probably 10 clean sheets this season. That's not enough to be doubling up on, and even 15 for a top team. To spend that much on defense, then I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it really for anyone. I had it for a short period with Fabianski, and I had it for a short time with not Fabianski, Patricio and Bennett. But Bennett was my last sub, and he's not playing, so that's something different again. If only one's playing, then if only one's playing, then then you can have double up if one's cheap to go on your bench. But yeah, I wouldn't. Oh, I just tweeted out the right link. Let me just check. Yes, I have. Would I sell Allison as I've Robbo 2? Yes. And I'm sure you've heard me talk before about premium goalkeepers and how I feel on them. And I think I'd sell Allison as over Robertson. And I'd downgrade him to a nice cheap 4.5 like Fabianski to do for the rest of the season, to be honest. 4.5s I am 4.5s I'm much more in favour of than a premium goalkeeper. There's so much more value to be had in having a premium defender than a premium goalkeeper. So yeah, a cheap goalkeeper. What's my highest finish in FPL? So this is my 3rd season playing the full game. And I used to play the Telegraph one before that, but I moved over to this. Is much better. I can tell you for sure. So my first season I finished 10,900 or something, just outside. I mean, I count it as being a top 10k finish, but it probably wasn't. Last year I finished 400,000, which is a season to forget. Now I'm sat just inside the top 200,000, and I'm slowly rising. So yeah, I'm not necessarily a trained veteran or a pro, as some people may be, but I've had 10k is my best finish 2 years ago. Won my mini leagues with that easily. Would you rather have Laporte and a 4.5 goalkeeper or Edison and a cheat defender? Well, yeah, Laporte and a 4.5 goalkeeper. Laporte's a different one because Laporte is a centre back. So Laporte's a centre back, which makes it slightly different because his attacking returns aren't quite as likely to happen. So it depends who your attacking return, your 4.5 goalkeeper and your defenders would be. So yeah, let me know who they'd be, and I'd be happy to answer that with a bit more detail. Let me just. Right, keep firing away your questions. Sorry, I am right. Let's keep going. Christmas rotation. Next, point number 3. So it is getting to that point. Man City have some 4 games in 11 days or something, and their fixtures until Christmas, until New Year, is just hectic for them. So the need to have a good bench is just absolutely key. You need at least 2 players on your bench, I'd say, that you're happy to come off your bench, even if it's a defender with a tough fixture like Bennett or Wan-Bissaka may have. To have 2 that you know are going to play is just key and have the potential to return some points. You need to have it. Players will be getting rested over this period. It is going to happen. I've had weeks where you have 11 players playing and other people have 6, and you think, brilliant. and then other weeks you have 7 of your starting team playing and everyone else has 11. You think, right, you win some, you lose some. Don't go transferring players out just because they get rested. If they get rested and your rival's player plays, chances are your player will then play and theirs will get rested. So don't go knee jerking because someone gets rested. Is my option. Laporte and Fabianski and Edison and Balbuena. I mean, I'd say Laporte and Fabianski, but realistically, Edison and Balbuena is probably a better option because Balbuena offers more going forward than I'd probably say. To be honest, Edison and Balbuena are going to go against what I think here. But I'll go Edison and Balbuena is probably a better option because they're not wing backs, and I'd have Balbuena over Yedlin probably. But Yedlin's a good pick. But yeah, probably Edison in that because Laporte doesn't offer that much going forward, so that's a tough one. Got burnt this week with Jimenez on the bench as a 5-1-6. What turn do we expect, and should we just keep playing him? This is the thing. You left Jimenez on your bench too. I think quite a lot of people did, so I wouldn't worry about that. People on Twitter starting him. I mean, Twitter is again a very small percentage of the FPL population, but 5.6 is too much to be leaving on your bench. If you're gonna bench him consistently, you can bench him 1 out of 3 weeks. That's fine. But if you're benching him more than half the time, there's no point having him. It's great to have him on a strong bench, but you know that the week you bench him and he doesn't come on, he'll score 12 like this week, and the weeks you do need him, he'll score 2. So that's quite a lot of money to have stashed up on your bench. So I'd probably advise keep playing him or sell him. And now if I had to pick which is probably a better option, I'd keep him for the foreseeable future. They have, let me just get their fixtures up. So Wolves have Arsenal away, but then Huddersfield and Cardiff at home. Then Huddersfield at home, Cardiff away, Chelsea at home, then Newcastle away and Bournemouth at home. Those are good fixtures. They're very one-on, one-off type fixtures though. So maybe if you wanted to rotate him with someone who rotated well with him, that would be an option. But I'd probably play him because he's a bit of an enabler, overselling him. But bench him is not what I'd go with. Huddersfield on top early on. My dribble, I don't know if any of you play dribble fantasy, but I have gone very heavily for Huddersfield in my team. So we will see what happens. My team hasn't started very well. Has Mounier been booked? Maybe, probably. Just my luck. Anyway, yeah. So Christmas rotation again is one. Just watch out for it. You know it's gonna come. And us on Twitter, it actually can really help and give us a real advantage knowing to plan your bench. A lot of players out there don't have strong benches, and you can plan ahead and communicate with others to make sure we all know what's coming and try and speculate with all the accounts on Twitter who may be starting and who's getting a rest and work around that. So yeah, plan ahead is very key. Yeah, watch out for this Christmas rotation. It will be starting probably after the international break. Yeah, Aguero played 90 minutes, which is an interesting point, which makes him more of an option. But if he'd only played 60, which he normally plays, imagine how much more damage Sterling would have done compared to him. So it's not a good sign, but it's because they've got the international break coming up, I think. Edison, the only Man City defender not to be rotated. Him and Laporte. Laporte has played every single minute so far this season. So he loves Laporte, so no. Edison and Laporte are the only two, really. Mendy and Walker are both first choice by a long way, but yeah, Edison and Laporte, pretty fixture proof. But yeah, Edison, this is a thing. A goalkeeper isn't going to get rotated. They're not going to need a rest. No chance. I don't see it changing. Backup keepers tend to play cup games and things like that to get their game time. But if you want a sure way into a defence over the Christmas period, then yeah, the goalkeeper is where to go. So let's talk about. Do I think Laporte will start to be rotated come Christmas? Very unlikely. Um, what 10, 8? What do they got? Probably 5 fixtures over that Christmas period. He plays a minimum of 4, in my opinion. Probably plays 4 out of that 5. It's whether you want to risk having him not play that one. Salah is essential, whereas Mendy or someone will play 3 or 4, and Edison will play 5. Salah essential. I've been tempted to get rid of him due to the money. Mane is tempting. Mane again is very tempting for me. On my wild card, it could be a move. Is a move I am looking at, because that 3 million could almost, that the amount that could go to upgrading Maddison and upgrading Fraser and Trent Alexander-Arnold to Robertson. It would do a lot. It'd do a lot for my team. So yeah, I can see why. I can see why you'd want Mane. I can see why you might want Mane over Salah, and it's not a stupid thing to do at all, because I think that money, if you reinvest it well, will pay more dividends than Salah will. Plans with keeping Fraser. Now, right, so we'll get on to, so we're on my team, and I'll talk about my transfer plans in just a minute. 75 this week, 74 last week, 2 big green arrows. I was at 370,000 2 weeks ago. 370k 2 weeks ago, and now I'm at 175, practically halved my rank. So I'm really pleased with how things are going. So yeah, I'm happy again. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've had 6 blanks and Hazard with a half blank, so 6.5 blanks this week, and I've still scored 75. Just shows you that you don't need players who are going to return consistently. You need some players in that will do that, but some players in that will get you the big scores that you can captain. And if your captain scores a lot, then that makes or breaks your game week. So my transfer plans. Before I tell you what I'm planning, please let me know what you would do with my team. Yeah, what would you do with my team transfer wise? I've got 0.0 in the bank and 1 free transfer. And what transfers are you guys making this week? Who hit the bar? Huddersfield have hit the bar. I think Huddersfield may get a point, at least a point out of this. I back them over. I back them over Fulham, to be honest. How do we counter Pep Roulette in terms of attacking players? Do we go Sterling and De Gea? That is a lot of money to be spending just to avoid rotation. I'd honestly I'm actually looking at Sterling and Sane, because at least one of them's going to play, and they are both first choice. So 90% of the time they'll both play, and you're going to get at least one. That could be an option, but I would just have one, and I wouldn't buy 2 just for the sake of trying to avoid the transfer. None, keep the transfer. I'm rolling my free transfer. Only thing I'd see is Kamara to success. Yeah, well, you're right there, Chris. I am planning on. Let me just. Come have. So yeah, what I'm planning on doing is doing Maddison to Martial. I'm rolling it this week, and then next week will be Maddison to Martial, and Fraser was going to be to Brooks, but now Kearney is back for Fulham. I think it'll be Fraser to Kearney, and Maddison to Martial. Now, this would allow me to rotate Kearney, Bennett, and Wan-Bissaka into one position. Right, none of them are good enough really to be playing every week, but three of them rotating into one position means likely I will have a good fixture every week for that position. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it. I want Martial, and that's probably the most obvious way of getting him in. What do you guys think? Fraser to a 4.8, Kenny or Brooks at 5.1, and Madison to Martial. Yeah, a Fulham defender. I couldn't think of much worse, to be honest. Um, yeah. Hazard, one of you just messaged me on Twitter. Hazard 6.5 blanks. I mean, Hazard. What I mean is a 4-pointer is sort of a half blank from a player. I'm not very pleased with 4 points from him, but it's not a blank. So I've had a blank from Salah, Madison, Trent, Fabianski, Mendy, Fraser, and Hazard's the half. This is where I get the half from. In the chat we have someone. He hasn't said hello. Say hello if you are in the chat. Is the Fantasy Football Factory. Now these guys do great merchandise for all your fantasy Premier League needs, and they are the people doing the prizes for my league. We've had some slight adjustments recently with the prizes, but they've been so helpful with it all. They've been so helpful with it all, just helping me decide what to give, communicating with me, and they do great stuff. So go check them out. They're at, I will put in the chat now. Yeah, so this is them. Go check them out on Twitter. Yeah, and drop them a follow. Anyway, moving on. You wouldn't drop Fraser? True, but his fixtures are tough, and I want Martial in, and Fraser's the obvious option to go from that. And it will allow me to play Bennett and Wan-Bissaka, who I will want to play over the coming weeks when they've got good fixtures. And there are Crystal Palace and Wolves can easily keep clean sheets, so yeah, I do want to be getting them in. Into my starting 11 every so often, so a downgrade for one of my players would allow me to do that. So next we move on to, what time is it? 20 past. Onto bandwagons, and so we've had two bandwagons recently, Ross Barkley and Martial, one of which keeps moving forward in Martial, and one of which looks to already collapsed. Also, guys, I was at the Chelsea game this weekend against Crystal Palace. So any Chelsea questions you've got, I will answer them right now. Anything Chelsea related: Alonso, Hazard, Barkley, Morata, the lot of them. So yeah, Barkley looked. I'll start with him. Barkley looked well off the pace, very poor. Kovacic looked so much better when he came on. Kovacic and Hazard link up so well with Alonso as well. So I wouldn't be going near Barkley anytime soon. I think that's probably the way I'd put it. I'd avoid Barkley. He got in the team because he had a great game a week ago. So yeah, but I wouldn't be transferring in Barkley. Leno is a great option. I think he's 4.8 into an Arsenal defence. They aren't defending that well, but he's in an Arsenal defence, so they're going to keep some clean sheets. So yeah, Kepa over Alisson. Well, yeah, potentially if it was just the two of them, then yeah, I think. But that's a tough one. I think Alisson will probably keep more clean sheets, but he's slightly more expensive now. I think that's a pretty tough call. Kepa or Alisson, that could go either way. It depends who you have in your defence. Because I'd have Kepa and Robertson would probably be to have defensive cover from both of them. I'd have Kepa and Robertson. Am I keeping Trent? For the short term, yes. On my wild card, I think I'll be bringing in Gomez. Gomez plays when Trent plays and doesn't play when and plays when Trent doesn't play. So he can play centre back or right back. Everyone seems to love him. So I think Trent Gomez will be my transfer. on my wild card, but for now I'm keeping him. I'm not very happy about having to keep him, but I am keeping him. Just gotta hope he plays. Um, yeah. So bandwagons. I imagine there's a lot of transfers in for Sterling this week. A lot of transfers in for Arnautovic, and a lot of transfers in for Richarlison, and probably Jimenez too, because people jump on. But in terms of Twitter bandwagons, now this is probably more realistic. Don't just follow what everyone brings in on in the game, because there are some people who, check their team once a week, and see who's scored a lot of points previous week and bring him in. So that's not a thing. But Twitter bandwagons, yeah, Arnautovic again has been popular a lot. Sterling, a lot of people look like he's Sterling. A lot of people think he's getting in, and yeah, but Barkley, I would be wary of. Martial looks to have proven himself. He's practically keeping Mourinho in a job. So as soon as Martial drops form, Man United drops form, so he can't afford to drop him, to be honest. So Martial stays one of my must-gets after the derby, and he will be coming in. So what changes would I make? If I wildcarded this week, we'll start with the boring things. Stecklenburg would probably go to Hammer because I don't know why. Whoever my backup goalkeeper might change or might not. Kamara to Success probably. Fraser to a cheaper one. Madison to Martial. And Tar to Gomez. That would be all I'm changing. Mendy, Alonso I'd keep. Fabianski's a long-term keeper. Richarlison I have to keep. I don't know why people are selling him. Salah I'd keep for now. Salah to Mane is something I'd be looking at, and you could look into that, and I probably would have a draft or something with Mane and over Salah, but currently Salah. Hazard will stay, Arnautovic will stay, and Aguero will stay. And Bennett and Wan-Bissaka are staying in my team all season, unless they get injured for a long period of time, but they are staying. Would I go Robert or Gomez? I mean, if you've got the money for Robertson, Robertson is the best defensive option, and he will return. He hasn't returned assists recently, but he will. We know what he's done in the past, so I'd probably keep Robertson, but Robertson and Gomez are the best two options, and this tends to happen. There tends to be two options from all premium defender, premium team setups in defence. City, you've got the keepers for them all, but I wouldn't go near them. City, you've got Mendy and Laporte. Walker maybe, but Mendy and Laporte. Chelsea, you've got Alonso and Luiz. And then from Liverpool, you've got Robertson and Gomez. Those are the pairs you want. If you can afford all the three top end ones, great. But probably the best way to go about things is two expensive and one of those cheap ones in any combination you want. And that's the way I'm looking to go. But most teams have a combination. Like with Wolves, it's Doherty and Bennett. Crystal Palace is just Wan-Bissaka. And I have to say, from the game at the weekend, Wan-Bissaka looked class. He looked so good. And he's not losing his place anytime soon. So, yeah. 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. For my starting 11, I much prefer 3-5-2, but 3-4-3... Success completely changes things, because if Success plays, then I'd say 3-5-2 and have Success on the bench. If Success isn't playing, then I'd say 3-4-3 with a midfielder on the bench. To have that support on your bench could be really helpful, which is what you get. A 4.5 midfielder you can have playing, but a 4.5 striker you can't really. Right now with Success, 3-5-2 outdoes 3-4-3 for me, but if he stops playing, then 3-4-3 is a stronger formation. And also a cheap midfielder tends to be better than a cheap forward. 7 million, you can have Arnautovic, and that's great. But as soon as you drop below that 7 million for a forward, there isn't much left in terms of forwards. So you're better off having a cheap midfielder in Fraser. And I have to say, there are only two strikers at the moment that I want in Fantasy Premier League, and that is Arnautovic and Aguero. I don't see who else I really want. The Jimenez, Ings, both did well this week, but I don't want them really long term. They're not sustainable points in my opinion. And then the Arsenal lot, no. Kane, when his fixtures change, I may have to try and get him in, but we will see on that. So yeah, Schneider goal. We have a goal in our evening game. 1-0 to Huddersfield. Come on, Huddersfield have scored. Wow, 1-0. Thank you guys. Well. Let's have a look. 1-0. I mean, the only thing that confirms in terms of fantasy Premier League. It doesn't change much in terms of fantasy Premier League. But yeah, 1-0 Huddersfield. It just shows that Fulham are awful at defending, and that is about it. Lau with the assist, Lowe with the assist, Schneider with the goal. On the bright side, I have him in my, not Schneider, I have Lau in my team. But so hi Chris. Chris has sent me his team, and he just wants me to talk about it briefly, and I will do briefly. It's hard, you can't see. So he's got Fabianski, Alonso, Laporte, Robertson, Hazard, Salah, Maddison, Richarlison, Aguero, Wilson, Jimenez, Doherty, Højbjerg, Wan-Bissaka. So you've got the setup that I think is great. Alonso, Laporte, Robertson. You've got a very similar team to me. Wilson or Fraser. Probably Wilson. Wilson is rotation proof, whereas when everyone is fit, Fraser may be getting rests. Spencer, I'd honestly say maybe drop Jimenez to success and upgrade Højbjerg to someone sort of medium priced, and upgrade Maddison to Martial. Again, it gives you the option to rotate a cheap midfielder, Doherty and Wan-Bissaka, is what I do. How to butcher the German name? Sorry, yeah, that wasn't good. I do apologise. Huddersfield are one up. Right, let's get back to these questions. I think I might need to sell Mitro to Wilson. I don't have the funds for better. Wilson does look like on great form. Yeah, so he's probably the best one. But he's only Neil. I don't have the funds for better. Oh, okay. Yeah, because you can't afford. But they are the same price now. You can't afford to upgrade them. Yeah. Well, then Wilson probably is the best option to go with at that price. If you don't want to go for one of the cheap ones. If you don't want to go for one of the cheaper strikers in Ings or Jimenez, then yeah. Wilson is the best option. Yeah. So we will go for our final call on questions, guys. Get your last questions in. Get your last questions in, as we will probably be wrapping it up. There. 1-0 Huddersfield. I mean, this shows Fulham have been awful. Fulham have just been awful so far. If you were to play 3-4-3, which striker would you go? Aguero, Arnie, and so I'd either go up and go Lacazette, or I'd go down and go Jimenez probably, or Ings, whichever those fixtures are better between Ings and Jimenez, whoever has better fixtures, and that might be one to judge. I don't think Mitrovic is such an awful option, but they don't look good enough. So I'd have Wilson, Ings, Jimenez, or Lacazette if you can afford it, but probably not Lacazette. Probably one of those three cheap ones. And Wilson looks on the best form if you can afford the extra million. So Wilson. Yeah, final questions, please, guys. Jimenez and Ings over Wilson. Have Fraser too. If you have Fraser, then no, get Jimenez or Ings. But if you don't have Fraser, then Wilson. But then if that yeah. So final questions. Thank you. Thank you again, guys. I just want to say thank you again for all of you for coming. We've had about equal support, so we might do some more Monday night football games when we've got a game on. Maybe something slightly more interesting than the one we've got at the moment. But yeah, thank you all for coming by. The support has been great. My last video struggled a little bit, but we move forward. We do what we can. It's because I streamed on a Thursday, which is why I've tried to do this one as early on in the week. And I apologise for the spam throughout the week, me trying to get as many views as possible on that. But thank you all for stopping by. If you could answer, if you could all, share my stream, it would be greatly appreciated. Trying to hit 100 subscribers. We're at about 74, I think, now. So yeah, it would mean a lot. Thanks, guys. Yeah, and I will see you next week. And of course, I'm available on Twitter the whole time to answer your questions, and I get back pretty quickly from an early hour to a late one. So always there to answer. Yeah, spread the word. Thank you guys for coming. Yeah, and enjoy your evenings.